Howdy, folks. Well, it was Friday, November 7th, but it just turned midnight right as I pulled my phone out. So it is now Saturday, November 8th. As I mentioned, it is... All right, someone trying to wave to the camera, I guess, but it is just after midnight. Temperature is about 10 degrees Celsius, and this is Bedford Road, and that was St. George Station where I was. And I decided to drag my lazy ass out of the apartment for the first time today. Well, I guess I didn't even get to do that on Friday. Well, I did. I left around 11:30 and record a video, so I'm going to be taking a Toronto after midnight walk tonight. This is Bloor Street. I don't really have a route in mind, but maybe we'll go wander through Yorkville a little bit. And then I'll turn on to Yonge Street or possibly Bay Street. It's been a while since I've recorded a video after midnight. And given that Thursday was my birthday, I just want to say thanks to everyone who wished me a happy birthday, and for all the people who sent birthday wishes and birthday super chats in my live stream, as well as the premiere I did that morning. Thank you so much. It was an excellent birthday. I had some Korean food after that stream. My favorite food in the whole world. That was cheese dakgalbi from Hankook in Koreatown. And tomorrow night, I'll be going to Barbarians. I'm having the best damn steak in the city, at least in my opinion.
Closest friends, eat with that. That know me best. First, in the wasteland, the first take, that put some effort.
All right, there's the Royal Ontario Museum. This is the very north end of downtown. Bloor Street is pretty much the northern border of what you could consider to be downtown. It is downright peaceful compared to what it normally is around here. The usual hustle and bustle of the city is turned down several notches. There's a lot less motorists and cyclists and pedestrians. This is Avenue Road on the left, Queen's Park on the right. And another look at the ROM. Oh, Bloor Street West, named after Joseph Bloor. I believe he ran a brewery back in the 1800s over by the Don Valley. Say Bloor, you'll hear blur, Bloor, Bloor. I think most people in the city pronounce it the way I do. There's the Church of the Redeemer. So I have just left the Annex neighborhood and entered Yorkville. And specifically, this stretch is known as the Mink Mile for having the highest retail cost per square foot in the country, as well as a lot of high-end retailers. And the Bloor subway line runs just north of here. That opened back in 1966. And that was the main catalyst that drastically transformed the Yorkville neighborhood. It used to be a hippie village back in the 60s. Kind of like Toronto's answer to, I think it was called Haight Ashbury. I've seen it written before, but I've never heard it pronounced in San Francisco. It wasn't uncommon to see the likes of Joni Mitchell, Gordon Lightfoot, and Neil Young hanging out and performing in the area. It is drastically different these days. And just to the north is Yorkville Village, which was actually its own municipality back in the 1800s. I'm thinking maybe I'll go for a little wander through there. There's Paris Baguette. I used to go to one of those regularly when I lived in Seoul, Korea, where that chain originates from. You'd always call it Paris Baguette. That'll lead up into Yorkville Village, but maybe I'll just head up Bloor Street coming up. Now, he's pointed out there's one Bloor West. And a very snobby store, Hermes. Place where you have to have a track record of spending a lot of money. Sure, they'll sell you a lot of their goods. I wonder what's going into this spot. I think that used to be a high-end men's clothing retailer. Right across from Harry Rosen.
You have to that.
So this is at Bloor Street. There'll be a few bars. It should be somewhat lively. Right now, at least Hemingway's should be. There's no doubt a lot of very well-to-do people living in this area. In fact, in a condo like that, a single parking spot can go for about $150,000. There's sassafras. And this is the village of Yorkville Park. Maybe I'll just head up Old York Lane, which is right where Hemingway's is.
That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
But a lot of these were once kind of bohemian boarding houses. And there are a lot of high-end boutiques and retailers. There's a bar up there and a lady in a very red dress making her way down. This rock is from the Canadian Shield. I thought those were offices, but it looks like they're actually condos, maybe. There's someone watching TV in there. It's really the only place I frequent with any regularity here, and even that's a stretch. That's Hemingway's. And this is Old York Lane. I don't know where that music's coming from. The patio up there. I don't think that's Hemingway's. You might be saying, what music? I had to edit it out of the video. Which seems fairly likely that I'll have to do just that. So that last street I was on was Cumberland, and this is Yorkville Avenue coming up. There's the Oxley. The Hazleton, one of the more expensive hotels in the city. Harrow's Happy Hour. I think that's kind of clubby. So there is some nightlife here. This is kind of where the original Yorkville scene centered around.
They'll stay with you forever.
And back when I was in university, going to York University, living in Mississauga, I worked for a company in this building called Polera. We did mostly telephone surveys, a lot of political surveys and that sort of thing. I would often just drive here from Mississauga and park at a nearby parking garage for about $8. I think those days are long gone. Forget about it, a Carrera story by Sticky Peaches. It's like a gallery out of a movie. October 30th to November 17th. There must be some very expensive art to be able to keep that place afloat. Bondi, Australia. Is it Bondi or Bondi Beach? I think it's Bondi Beach. All right, we're back to Bloor Street. Looks like they had to fix some of their planters. There's plans for a 29-story building on that spot. And there's an escape room I've been to a few times. I think it might have changed names though. XIT. There used to be a very popular diner that recently closed down just on that side of the street as well. One thing you'll often see in Yorkville are supercars, and look at this. That is a gorgeous color. I'm sure there's someone looking at me on a security camera right now. I actually cut through one of these properties on a live stream. There's a laneway connecting the street parallel to this just to the north. And a security dude ran out and told me I couldn't record there and that it was private property. Looked very public to me. All right, let's cross here. Cumberland Terrace. No, it's not. I'm looking at that thinking, it doesn't add up. I didn't come out on Cumberland, I came out on Yorkville Avenue. Cumberland Terrace is coming up on the left. Dead shopping mall that will soon be completely decommissioned.
Would you put me up for adoption? Yes.
There's Cumberland Terrace. If you told me to set out and record the most lively area tonight, in terms of seeing people out on the streets and nightlife and that sort of thing, probably say to go to King Street West. Particularly the stretch between Spadina and Bathurst. Another candidate would be Ossington Avenue between Dundas and Queen. Little Italy might be okay, less than those two areas. And various stretches of Queen Street West. And maybe the Village on Church Street, but at this hour there's not a whole lot of really lively pockets. I'm really curious to see what kind of facade they put in there. All the luxury retailers tend to go all out. They spend a lot of money decking out their storefronts. There's Italy, and the new Italy at the Eat Center will be opening pretty soon. It says opening in fall. There's Aloe, a competitor to Lululemon, who Have a new flagship store coming up right at Bloor and Yonge. It's kind of playful. You're playful at heart. That's Holt Renfrew, a luxury Canadian department store. And since the bay is closed, there won't be any more Christmas window displays there. That was always a winter highlight for some. And the other week I met a reporter from a major publication to get some input for an article she was writing, and we met at that cafe right there. And a close look at the massive super tall that is done rising. Really curious as to who the anchor tenant is going to be. Originally, Apple was supposed to be in there, but they pulled out. And it looks like there's a fitness club on the second floor there, where Nordstrom Rack used to be. And this is one of the busier intersections in the city, Bloor and Yonge. It's also a scramble crossing. And as pro-pedestrian as I am, I don't think the scramble crossing should really be in effect at this hour. Look how few people are using it. Makes perfect sense from the morning rush hour, probably up until about 10 p.m. And I've seen shuttle buses get stuck waiting at this intersection. A very long time. Because when they're running shuttle buses, they get backed up and create quite the backlog. And they have to wait extra long for that scramble crossing, and when it's at this time of night, it's not really necessary. I think using that logic, they should reinstate the scramble crossing at Bay and Bloor, but turn it off at night. See, I'm not all anti-motorist. And I guess we're going south down Yonge Street for a little bit. Maybe we'll just go down to Wellesley Station. Probably do a Yonge Street late night video at some point. There's Chick-fil-A. So this is south down the west side of Yonge Street. And this was once listed as the longest street in the world. That has since been completely debunked, but the Guinness Book of Records recognized it once as that, listing it as being 1,896 kilometers from Toronto to Rainy River. As I look across at the brass rail, and there's a place offering acting classes right next to it. I have not been in that establishment since I was 19 or 20, back when we were just old enough to go to those sorts of places. And I had some friends that were keen to go. That sounds like an electric vehicle. It's got that weird hum. This is Charles Street. I mentioned Line 2 was built along Bloor Street back in 1966, while Line 1, which goes underneath here, opened in 1954. Why they put flashing LEDs on the top floor of that building. I wonder if that's what that guy is wondering. And this whole block is up for redevelopment. A really good Korean restaurant was in here that was forced to close. They had a pretty good duck galbi. We've been losing lots of this really unique fine grain retail. Well, it's good to see that place moved. Oh, we saw their other location earlier, Metro Cigar. And the new retail replacing a lot of these older buildings is quite bland and generic and lacks the character that the older builds had. There's the CA Theater. I saw Forever Plaid there way back when. It used to be the New Yorker Theater. And this building, you used to be able to get your e-reading done in front of it. This is, or at least it was owned by the Church of Scientology. It's been vacant forever, sitting on a very, very valuable piece of land. And I think they're able to squat on it because of that very ridiculous law that allows religious institutions to skip out on taxes on their properties. I assure you it wouldn't be sitting there vacant all these years if they didn't have that fun little loophole to exploit. Oh, that's new. I'll have to check that out when it opens. Brightly lit yogurt shop. There's been a lot of Asian businesses moving into this stretch of Yonge Street. I hear Korean broken rice. So apparently there's a tunnel that runs between Wellesley and College. Wellesley being just south of here. That's been sealed up for decades. I'm not sure if that's true, but I heard someone mention that once. ramen, fried chicken. We're just a block away from Wellesley. That's where I'm going to pop in and make my way back up to Midtown. This place, the Peachy, that used to be an aroma cafe. Every time I walk by this place when it's open, it is packed. I once, well, when Caravana was in town, or was being held, I was in front of that place, and a couple of women who were from the States asked me if that was a good place to buy their cannabis, and I let them know that if they liked it strong, that's certainly a good place. And they said, why would that be? And I let them know it was one of the unregulated, kind of gray area cannabis shops. Not fully legal, but the cops won't do anything. Then they asked, is it safe? And I'm like, I don't know, it's up to you. And I wouldn't have any problems trying it, so they went in. So hopefully they enjoyed their time in the city with whatever it is they purchased from there. If you like these later night walks, let me know and I can try to do a few more of them. I have a feeling once the city is snow swept, which doesn't happen too often, but on the days it is, I always like to get out and do walks at this hour, even though it tends to be freezing.
Awesome, good one.
Never noticed that Taiwan professional tea place. Used to be a very popular Fox and the Fiddle across the street that closed recently. This is Wellesley Station.
Yes. Sure, I can. My phone doesn't know it's me when I see my phone.
All right. Next train, 2 minutes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there's a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. I'm not gonna wait for the train to roll in. I'll just put my camera gear away. And again, let me know what you thought of this late night walk. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Yoink.